In 1872, a revolutionary idea took root in the American West: to set aside a vast expanse of wilderness, not for profit or development, but for preservation and enjoyment by all. That idea gave birth to Yellowstone, the world's first national park. Spanning over 2 million acres across Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho, Yellowstone is a treasure trove of natural wonders: geysers, hot springs, towering mountains, and diverse wildlife. But this iconic landscape faces growing challenges, from climate change to human impact. Today we'll explore the tireless efforts to conserve Yellowstone, ensuring it remains a beacon of wild beauty for generations to come. Yellowstone's story begins with its unique geology. Sitting atop a volcanic hotspot, the park is home to over 10,000 hydrothermal features, including the famous Old Faithful geyser, which erupts with clockwork precision every 90 minutes or so. Its vibrant hot springs, like the Grand Prismatic, paint the landscape with surreal colors, thanks to heat-loving microorganisms called thermophiles. Beyond its geothermal marvels, Yellowstone boasts sprawling forests, pristine rivers, and a rich ecosystem supporting grizzly bears, wolves, bison, and countless other species. Protecting this complex web of life and land requires constant vigilance and innovative strategies. One of the biggest threats to Yellowstone is climate change. Rising temperatures are altering the park's delicate balance. Scientists have observed shorter winters and earlier snowmelt, which affect water availability for plants and animals. In 2022, historic flooding caused by heavy rains and rapid snowmelt devastated parts of the park, washing out roads and forcing temporary closures. Climate models predict more extreme weather events, which could further disrupt ecosystems. To address this, park managers are working with climate scientists to monitor changes and adapt management plans. For example, they're studying how warming temperatures affect native species, like the whitebark pine, a critical food source for grizzly bears. By planting climate-resilient seedlings and reducing stressors like invasive species, conservationists aim to bolster the park's resilience. Wildlife conservation is another cornerstone of Yellowstone's protection efforts. The park is a stronghold for species like the gray wolf, reintroduced in the 1990s after being hunted to extinction in the region. The reintroduction was a landmark success, restoring balance to the ecosystem by controlling deer and elk populations, which in turn allowed vegetation to recover. But wolves still face threats, including conflicts with ranchers outside the park. To mitigate this, organizations like the Yellowstone Wolf Project track wolf populations using radio collars and GPS, studying their movements to prevent human-wildlife conflicts. Non-lethal deterrents like guard dogs and fencing are also being used to protect livestock while supporting wolf recovery. Bison, another iconic Yellowstone species, face similar challenges. As the largest land mammal in North America, bison are a symbol of the American West. Yellowstone is home to one of the last genetically pure bison herds, but their migration beyond park boundaries often leads to conflict with landowners. Overgrazing and the risk of transmitting diseases like brucellosis to cattle have led to controversial culls in the past. Conservationists are working on solutions, like expanding migration corridors and developing vaccines to reduce disease transmission. Community-led initiatives also engage local tribes who have deep cultural ties to bison in managing herds sustainably. These efforts aim to balance ecological health with the needs of surrounding communities. Human impact is another pressing concern. Yellowstone welcomes over 4 million visitors annually, and that number is growing. While tourism supports conservation through funding, it also strains the park's resources. Overcrowding can lead to trampled vegetation, litter, and disturbed wildlife. To manage this, the National Park Service has implemented measures like timed entry systems to reduce congestion during peak seasons. Educational programs encourage visitors to stick to trails, respect wildlife, and follow leave-no-trace principles. Volunteers also play a vital role, helping to maintain trails and remove invasive plants that threaten native ecosystems. By fostering a culture of stewardship, these efforts ensure that visitors can enjoy Yellowstone without harming it. Invasive species are a growing threat to Yellowstone's biodiversity. Non-native plants, like cheatgrass, outcompete native vegetation, altering habitats and increasing wildfire risk. Aquatic invaders, such as lake trout introduced to Yellowstone Lake, have decimated populations of native cutthroat trout, a key food source for grizzlies and birds like ospreys. To combat this, park biologists are using targeted removal methods, like netting lake trout and applying herbicides to invasive plants. These efforts are labor-intensive but critical to restoring ecological balance. Citizen science programs also enlist volunteers to report invasive species sightings, helping managers act quickly to contain outbreaks. Fire management is another key focus. Yellowstone's 1988 wildfires, which burned over a third of the park, sparked debate about how to handle natural fires. Today, managers use a combination of controlled burns and strategic fire suppression to maintain healthy forests. Fires are a natural part of the ecosystem, clearing dead wood and promoting new growth. But climate-driven megafires pose new risks. By studying fire patterns and using satellite imagery, managers can better predict and manage wildfires, protecting both the park and nearby communities. Collaboration is at the heart of Yellowstone's conservation success. The National Park Service works with local tribes, state agencies, and nonprofit organizations to address challenges holistically. For example, the Greater Yellowstone Ecosystem Initiative coordinates efforts across the park and surrounding lands, recognizing that ecosystems don't follow human-drawn boundaries. Indigenous knowledge is increasingly integrated into management plans, honoring the cultural significance of the land to tribes like the Shoshone and Blackfeet. These partnerships ensure that conservation efforts are inclusive and sustainable. Funding is critical to these endeavors. The Yellowstone Forever Foundation raises millions annually to support research, restoration, and education programs. Federal grants and visitor fees also help, but budget constraints remain a challenge. Advocates are pushing for increased public funding to ensure the park can adapt to growing pressures. Every dollar spent on conservation helps protect not just Yellowstone, but the very idea of national parks as places where nature and humanity can coexist. Yellowstone's conservation story is one of resilience and hope. From reintroducing wolves to battling invasive species, the efforts to protect this park show what's possible when science, community, and passion come together. But the work is far from over. Climate change, human impact, and resource limitations demand ongoing innovation and commitment. As the world's first national park, Yellowstone set a precedent for conservation globally. By supporting its protection, whether through visiting responsibly, volunteering, or advocating for policy changes, we can ensure that this wild heart of America beats strong for centuries to come. Yellowstone isn't just a park, it's a legacy, a reminder that we have the power to preserve the wonders of our planet for future generations.